Jai Hind दोस्तों. In this video, I'll speak about origin of tragedy, definition of tragedy, and explain each part of the definition, and also glance over major tragedians. Tragedy primarily originated from religious festivals dedicated to Dionysus, the god of wine, fertility, and theatre. The most notable of these festivals was the Great Dionysia, held in ancient Athens in honor of the god Dionysus, where playwrights presented their works in a competitive settings. Early forms of tragedy were closely linked to choral songs, that is called dithyrambs, sung in honor of Dionysus. These songs gradually evolved into stories. The stories about human suffering and the whims of the gods. Greek tragedies often drew upon mythological themes and stories, exploring the relationship between humans and the divine, fate, and the moral order of the universe. The suffering of heroes like Oedipus or Agamemnon was seen as a result of divine will or cosmic order. Early Greek tragedies were composed in a poetic form and often dealt with themes of human suffering, fate, and the will of the gods, as I said earlier. The structure typically included a prologue, a series of episodes separated by choral odes, and an exodus. Key playwrights include Achilles, Sophocles, and Euripides, who explored complex characters and moral dilemmas. Choral ode serve as reflective and thematic interludes between episodes, delivered by the chorus, and provide commentary, emotional depth, and structural division to the play. Exodus, the final section of the play that resolves the plot, provides thematic closure and concludes with the chorus's final reflections, ensuring the audience experiences catharsis. And he is one of the earliest playwrights. His notable works are the Orestia trilogy, then is Prometheus Bound, and the third is The Persians. Sophocles, he is one of the most important playwrights because Aristotle based his theory of tragedy based upon this play. It means that he has derived some of the principles from Sophocles' plays, and therefore Sophocles becomes a starting point for the development of theory of tragedy. So Sophocles' three plays, which are called trilogy, are Oedipus Rex, Oedipus the king, Oedipus Rex and Oedipus the king, one and the same thing. Some say is Oedipus Rex and some people call it Oedipus the king. Second play is Oedipus at Colonus, and third play is Antigone. All these three plays are called the Theban plays because they are situated in Thebes. We must know the story of Oedipus Rex because when we cite the examples while explaining elements of tragedy, we need to make reference to this play, the Oedipus Rex. The story of Oedipus Rex is one of the most famous tragedies. Sophocles' Oedipus Rex is most important play because when we explain the elements of tragedy, we need to make mention of Oedipus Rex in order to clarify certain ideas. Therefore, we all need to know story of Oedipus Rex. The story runs as follows. King Lais and Queen Jocasta of Thebes receive a prophecy that their son will kill his father and marry his mother. To prevent this, they abandon their newborn son, Oedipus. He is left to die. However, a shepherd rescues the baby Oedipus and gives him to a childless couple, King Polybus and Queen Merope of Corinth, who raise him as their own child. As a young man, Oedipus learns of a prophecy that he is destined to kill his father and marry his mother. Believing Polybus and Merope are his biological parents, he flees Corinth to avoid fulfilling the prophecy. On his way, Oedipus encounters a man at a crossroads and, after a dispute, kills him. Unbeknownst to him, this man is his real father, biological father, King Lais. Oedipus continues to Thebes, which is plagued by the Sphinx, a creature that kills everyone who cannot answer her riddle. Oedipus solves the riddle, and the grateful Thebans make him their king. He marries the recently widowed Queen Jocasta, who is his biological mother. Years later, a plague strikes Thebes. Oedipus was to find the cause and save his city. The oracle of Delphi reveals that the plague will end when Lais's murderer is found and punished. Oedipus relentlessly searches for the truth, questioning various people, including the blind prophet Tiresias, who hints at the terrible truth. Gradually, the pieces come together. The old shepherd who saved Oedipus as a baby confirms his true origin. Jocasta realizes the truth first, and Jocasta, who is Oedipus's biological mother and who is married to Oedipus. So Jocasta is both his biological mother and his wife. Jocasta realizes the truth first and hangs herself in despair. Oedipus, who realizes that he has unwittingly fulfilled the prophecy that he killed his father and married his mother. In a fit of agony and guilt, Oedipus blinds himself with Jocasta's brooches. He relinquishes his throne and goes into exile accompanied by his daughter, Antigone. The story ends with Oedipus accepting his fate and preparing for a life of wandering and suffering. The themes in the play: fate versus free will, the inevitability of fate and how it plays out despite characters' attempts to escape it. Sight and blindness, literal and metaphorical blindness, with Oedipus gaining insight only after he becomes physically blind. Oedipus's pride and determination to defy the prophecy lead to his downfall. The painful journey of discovering the truth and its devastating impact. Oedipus Rex is a powerful exploration of human nature, fate, and the consequences of knowledge, and remains one of the cornerstones of classical literature. Second play, Oedipus at Colonus. This sequel followed the blind and exiled Oedipus's final days and his death at Colonus. The last play, Antigone, focuses on Oedipus's daughter Antigone and her defiance of King Creon to bury her brother Polynices, leading to her tragic end. So there was reference to Oracle of Delphi. So we need to know a little about it. The Oracle of Delphi, also known as Pythia, spelling Pythia, was a high priestess at the temple of Apollo in Delphi, Greece, and she was one of the most important figures in the ancient Greek world. The oracle was believed to deliver prophecies and guidance inspired by the god Apollo. People from all over Greece and beyond would come to consult her for advice on a wide range of matters, including politics, warfare, and even personal issues. The next playwright is Euripides. These are the plays by Euripides: Medea, the Bacchae, Hippolytus, the Trojan women, Alcestis, and Electra. So these are three major playwrights. All these three major playwrights have been the models for later playwrights, and they are still relevant. They are still relevant even today, because from the plays of these playwrights, the people have evolved a kind of theory of drama and poetry. So their relevance cannot be denied even today. So let us come to the next part, that is Aristotle's concept of tragedy. We need to understand all the parts of this definition, because this definition is quite long and we need to explain each part of the definition separately, and I am going to do it in this video. Let us have a look at this definition. This definition is by Aristotle. Aristotle defined tragedy as an imitation of an action. Action can be internal, action can be external, that is serious, complete, and of certain magnitude. Tragedy is, in a language, embellished with each kind of artistic ornament. This is second part of this definition. The several kinds being found in separate parts of the play. In the form of action, tragedy is in the form of action, not in narrative. Through pity and fear, effecting the proper purgation of these emotions. So I'll explain each part of this definition. So again, I repeat the definition. Tragedy is an imitation of action that is serious, complete, and of certain magnitude. In a language embellished with each kind of artistic ornament, the several kinds being found in separate parts of the play in the form of action, not in narrative, not in narration, through pity and fear, effecting the proper purgation of these emotions. Tragedy being an imitation of action. Tragedy is a form of artistic imitation. It imitates not just any action, but one that is significant and serious. The events and characters depicted in a tragedy are intended to represent real human experiences and emotions. Second part, imitation of action that is serious, complete, and of certain magnitude. Look at the definition again. Go back to the definition and see how we define tragedy. Imitation of action that is serious, complete, and of certain magnitude. Serious. Action which is serious. The subject matter of tragedy is serious and dignified, often involving important themes such as morality, fate, and human suffering. Complete action means a tragedy must have clear beginning, clear middle, and clear end. The action has to be not only serious but also complete. It means tragedy must have clear beginning, clear middle, and clear end. The narrative should be well structured, with each part logically following from the preceding one. So there has to be coherence between the preceding part and the part that follows. It should be of certain magnitude. It means that the events in a tragedy should be of sufficient scale to be meaningful. The actions and consequences must be significant enough to engage the audience's emotions deeply. It is also about magnitude means it's also about the length. It means that tragedy should neither be too long nor be too short, because if the play is too long, then unnecessary elements might creep into it. And Aristotle said that there should be unity of action. So there should not be anything that is not relevant in tragedy. And if the tragedy is too long, then such elements might creep into it, come into it. So therefore it should neither be too long and nor be too short. If tragedy is too short, then what will happen? If the tragedy is too short, then we said that the tragedy should have proper beginning, proper middle, and proper end. So tragedy should be of intermediate length. So next part of the definition. The tragedy should be in a language. Tragedy should be in a language embellished with each kind of artistic ornament. It should be in a language embellished with each kind of artistic ornament, the several kinds being found in separate parts of the play. How we can explain it? Aristotle refers to the use of elevated language. Elevated language means it's not ordinary language, the language that is suited to the characters that play part in tragedy. It should be befitting the characters in tragedy. The language in tragedy is often poetic and stylized, enhancing emotional and aesthetic impact. What does it mean by several kinds being found in separate parts of the play? It means different parts of the play, such as dialogues, choral odes, and monologues, utilize various artistic elements. For example, the chorus might sing in a more lyrical and ornamental style, compared to the spoken dialogues of the character. So we have said that the tragedy should be in the form of action and not narration. What does it mean? It's very simple. Tragedy presents its story through dramatized action rather than merely telling it as a narrative. This means that the events are enacted by characters on the stage, allowing the audience to experience the events more directly. So, the characters play their part on the stage. It means that actions are enacted on the stage, it's not narrated. Then, this is last part of definition. Through pity and fear, effecting the proper catharsis of these emotions. These emotions means the emotions of pity and fear. The goal of tragedy is to evoke feelings of pity and fear in the audience. Pity arises from the audience's sympathy for the character's suffering, while fear comes from the recognition that similar misfortunes could befall them. Befall them and befall audience. So let us explain the definition of catharsis. What is catharsis? Let me explain it. This is the process of purging or cleansing these emotions. Purging or cleansing these emotions means the emotions of pity and fear. How can we purge or cleanse the emotion of pity and fear? We can purge or cleanse the emotion of pity and fear by experiencing pity and fear through the events of the tragedy. The audience undergoes an emotional release, leading to a sense of renewal and moral insight. Let us try to relate all these elements to the play by Sophocles, that is Oedipus Rex. How we can apply this definition to Oedipus Rex? Now, the play deals with serious themes such as fate, identity, and human condition. Oedipus' search for truth and revelation of his tragic fate is profound and serious subject matter. The narrative structure is tight and coherent. Action is complete. The play starts with the plague in Thebes and ends with Oedipus' realization of his true identity and his self-inflicted blindness and exile. Certain magnitude. The events have significant consequences not only for Oedipus but for the entire city of Thebes. The magnitude of his fall from king to blind exile is immense. The play uses elevated and poetic language, rich in metaphors and dramatic irony. For example, Oedipus' speech when he curses the murderer of Lais, his biological father, not knowing it is himself, is highly embellished and dramatic. The play incorporates dialogues, monologues, and choral odes. Each serves a different function. Dialogue advances the plot, monologues reveal inner thought, and choral odes provide reflection and commentary. The story is told through the action of the character on the stage, not merely narrated. The audience witnesses Oedipus' investigation, his interaction with Jocasta and Tiresias, and his ultimate self-punishment. The audience feels pity for Oedipus as he uncovers the truth and realizes his tragic fate. Fear is evoked by the inevitability of his downfall and the harshness of fate. The catharsis is achieved as the audience experiences a purging of these emotions through the intense drama. Sophocles' Theban plays embody Aristotle's principle of tragedy through their serious and complete narratives, elevated language, distinct part, dramatized action, and the evocation of pity and fear leading to catharsis. Thank you. Jai Hind.